And coming out, all throughout the year, there's additional horror films. Most recently we get The Evil Dead Rise. Chris, you are the only one who saw The Evil Dead Rise. Do not spoil it for us. What did you think,
I'm
though?
not gonna I'm not gonna spoil or anything, but everybody that I've seen that's watched it so far, whether it be podcasts, review channels, just people on social media, have all been praising the film, how interesting and how fun and how gory it is, and it does have a lot of really cool things with it. Me, for the most part of it, I was a little let down.
No way.
I was telling Mike earlier, there was a lot of really cool stuff about it, like that I really liked. The most of that came in the last 30 minutes of the movie. The beginning of the movie is okay. It's just kind of it's a little dumb. And then the middle, to me, was not fun at all. It didn't feel anything like Evil Dead. The main lady, the woman in the trailer, the mom, who gets possessed, she does not feel like she belongs in an Evil Dead film. When she gets possessed, she doesn't feel like a regular Deadite. It's almost in the vein of the 2013 remake, Deadites. At least her part is. When other people get possessed, they are more like the classic Evil Dead characters, where um, they're more comical, they're more creative with it, they're more fast paced. But the mom is really slow. She goes back and forth between being a deadite to being a normal person for a second, just to tell somebody something. It was kind of hit or miss when it comes to her being a deadite, and I did not like that aspect of it. The rest of the movie, though, from like the last 30 to 40 minutes, if they would have kept the fast pace, the blood and the gore and the comical aspect from that throughout the rest of the film, it would have been amazing. And I really wish, I mean, it had a lot of potential. There's a lot of really cool things that they did that they could have went further with.
Mm.
I Whenever the filmmakers came out and started talking about the film, they said they used like 72,000 gallons of blood or something like that. And I think he was kind of lying a little bit about that, because yes, there is a sequence that uses a lot of blood, but it's kind of like a cheap way to use that much blood. And I don't want to spoil it for you because it's actually a really cool scene, but it is kind of like a way to be like, yeah, we use 72,000 gallons of blood. Well, yeah, but not in the right aspect that we want you to use it in. But I would recommend it. I think a lot of people really get enjoyment out of it, especially if you like the other films. You'll definitely get some throwbacks. So there's a lot of references to Evil Dead 2,
No way.
and if you like that one, there's some really cool moments in there that reference the Evil Dead 2. Um, I mean, definitely go and see it, even if you're just a fan of horror films, not really of the Evil Dead films. I still think this is something you'll get a kick out of. There's a lot of things in it too that plays on the horror tropes that I didn't like, and you know how I feel about some of those things, like the contortion things where people like their bones get broken and back and
Mm.
forth. I hate that. They do use that a few times throughout the film, so that kind of made me kind of cringe. Just in, why did you do something like this when you could be so more creative with the way you kill people in this film? Um, but yeah, check it out, guys. It's actually a lot of fun, and I can't wait for you all to see it, to see what you all think. I think you
Yeah,
all might
dude.
like it a little bit more than me.
Yeah.
Evil Dead's one of my favorite franchise ever. Like I would say Evil Dead, Evil Dead 2. Those are two absolute perfect splatter films. Um, One thing I wanted to say about the newest one is it didn't look funny. Like, obviously when you think about the Evil Dead, you think about the comedy, you think about the really gory scenes, like, oh, 72,000 gallons of blood, like you said, Chris. And that's every single movie, they've always had an excuse to use this like bloodbath. And you really didn't see that in the newest one. So I'm kind of curious to see that scene that you mentioned because I didn't know anything about that. But this one seemed very straightforward, and I knew it was going to go one or two ways, but I am excited to see it. I actually wanted to show you guys this clip because I don't know if you guys have seen this or not. Check this out. Look, hold on.
I don't know what this is now.
By the way, everybody, the Marauder, just so everybody knows.
We held the elevator scene over Lee's head to try and get the schedule.
The goddamn movie.
What's that?
This movie fucking sucks.
He's storming out. He's storming like he's 70.
Nobody's that sad.
He's gone. He's He's gone. He's gone. Everybody's gone. He's gone.
Yeah, he's gone. I think someone got possessed during the movie. I think that's what happened. Yeah. What are you doing here? Get the fuck out of here.
So yeah, South by Southwest.
Was that Chris Lax leaving?
That was Chris. That was what I was going to say.
God, Chris.
That was Chris's reaction
I
after
knew
he
you
watched
didn't care
the
for it, but Jesus Christ.
72,000 gallons of blood, and for what?
Like,
So-
where did they get that number? Is that actually how many gallons? That sounds like my 3-year-old like giving me math problems. 72,000, Daddy. Like, what the hell? Like,
So was this
They were on a budget, Mike. They couldn't afford it anymore. They had to do 72,000. They tried to get 75,000. Couldn't do it.
That's a little crazy. 72,000 gallons of blood.
So that clip you just showed, Tyler, was that they had a screening of the movie and that was a reaction that somebody had after the screening?
So I was going to mention, it's South by Southwest 2023. They premiered Evil Dead Rise and never been screened before any audience. Like no one had seen it before. Theater, was opened up. People watched it and they had a big Q&A with like Bruce Campbell, the director, writers, all of this. And the guy, they're like, oh, thank you guys so much for watching. We're going to do the Q&A now. And they kind of just start talking. And the guy said, learn to make a damn movie. And then they say, I'm sorry, what? And he says, your movie fucking sucks. And he gets up and they're like, what? And he starts like flipping them off. And it was at that moment I realized I wanted to see the Evil Dead Rise because I wanted to see if this guy was right. Because film bros, like when you're buying a ticket to South by Southwest and you're watching the Evil Dead Rise and watching this entire like Q&A with the cast and crew, what's up. Like you're probably like the biggest Evil Dead fan to be able to get in, wait in line for the screening, wait it out and actually see it. So I think it's really funny because I was like, if he hates it, am I gonna hate it? I mean, Chris, what do you think?
I didn't hate it. Like I said, it was kind of right down the middle. It wasn't bad. The filmmakers did a really good job. I thought the filmmaking was spot on. It was just kind of the story that they told in the way they told it. But no, the guy was completely wrong. I would highly recommend anybody watching it. Didn't say I didn't like it. Said there's a lot of stuff about it that could have been a lot better than what it was. So
fair enough.
Well, I've been out and about watching the entire series again, getting ready for it. And let me tell you, like I had mentioned before, Evil Dead 2, top of the line. They're 9.9 out of 10 films. Love Bruce Campbell. I love how goofy Evil Dead 2 is.
Yeah.
Watching both of them again, I'm still a fan of the original. And there's a lot of people who think Evil Dead 2 is better. And a lot of people do think Evil Dead 1's better. And I happen to be in that ballpark of saying the first one's my favorite. What is it, Mike?
What was it? Was it 2013, the last Evil Dead before this Evil Dead Rise, correct? Was it 13?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna be honest, wasn't a huge fan of that one. It was good, but it wasn't like amazing to me. But
no, I didn't like it at all.
Yeah, like I was just like, I wasn't overly impressed with it. Kind of like what you said. I like the comedy aspect. I love Bruce Campbell. I'm opposite, Tyler. I really enjoyed Evil Dead 2 in 1987. I thought it was really well done, and I loved Evil Dead in, what was it, 80 or 81 when it came out?
I think it was 83. I might be right though. I might be wrong though.
Okay,
I am right. I'm talking about I'm right.
Yeah, you're right, goddamn. Sorry. But
Don't
yeah, so
question me. Sorry.
Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2, they were great. They had the comedy aspect or side to it. But then Evil Dead that was brought out in 13, I don't know. I'm getting that vibes from this one that just recently came out, Friday? But I guess we'll see. I definitely will see it. I don't have a lot of high hopes for it.
Well, dude, I rewatched the Evil Dead 2013 remake as well. I'm with you guys. I did not like it in theaters. I probably would give it a 5 or 6 out of 10. And I know, obviously they had quality issues before. You remember that, Chris? Mike, you may have heard too. It's they had writers write it. I forgot the writers. And apparently they delivered the script to the studio and it was so bad, or they just didn't like her, they didn't think it would work. And they had Diablo Cody, which had wrote Juno and a couple other like Oscar winning scripts, to come in to rewrite it for them. And I mean, I think that she did it justice enough, because I want to see how that script was before she had the chance to overhaul it. But rewatch it again, try it one more time, because I did find like a respect for it later. Don't love
I've
it.
watched it. I've watched it probably 5 to maybe 6 times, and I have hated it every single time.
Oh, trust me, I don't love it, but the very first time I watched, I just did not like it at all.
It's it doesn't feel anything like an Evil Dead movie at all.
It doesn't.
Nothing, not one single aspect of it. The acting is, I mean, it's okay acting, but when the Deadites get possessed, they don't have any resemblance to anything Evil Dead related. And it's supposed to be in that same universe. The dialogue, which I don't know how much of it has to deal with, Diablo Cody, but it was awful. It did not fit the tone of the film whatsoever. It was a really serious movie, and everything was played serious, but then the dialogue was written in like high school, like as if it was somebody in high school dissing somebody else that they don't like, and it was just
Chris,
very
it was the writer of Juno.
What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that, Chris? I want the
Chris,
whole breakdown.
We're having
Why
that
don't you?
high school Evil Dead. What are you guys gonna do
Yeah.
whenever like CW announces like an Evil Dead show, and it becomes this like teen dramedy, and they're like over here like, oh, I don't want to go to the forest, guys.
So there is an episode of Creep Show from season, I think it might be season 2, where it's got not Sam Raimi, but his brother Ted Raimi in it, and
John
it's
Raimi,
a whole Evil Dead episode where they get possessed, and I think Ted Raimi goes and he's like at is it a news show or like a
It's like a
shopping
talk
network show,
like
something like that, yeah.
It's like a shop talk thing.
Yeah, and it's an hour-long episode, and it's a complete Evil Dead episode, and it's really cool, and it's really well done, and it's way better than the 2013 remake was. So if you're gonna watch anything Evil Dead-ish, watch that. Like, watch that episode of Creep Show.
Honestly, that was probably like either the best or the next to best episode of that entire series. It was so good. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Are you a fan of the first or second Evil Dead more, Chris? Because I keep in mind, I want to say I love them both equally, almost like they're 10 out of 10s for different reasons. They're both great. I just slightly lean to the first.
I would go with Evil Dead 1 more. The second one, even though it's a lot of fun, it's basically a remake of the first film, just a little bit of stuff changed, and the tone is completely different. Instead of being half serious, half comical like the first one is, because everything in the first movie is 100% serious, but then the stuff that's happening to him is just so over the top that it's funny. Yeah. But in part 2, it's half serious, half comical, and everything that he's happened to him is 10 times over the top. So I would go with 1 as being my favorite one more. But I really, really enjoy. I mean, they're both 10 out of 10, yes. But I lean more toward the first movie.
Nice. What would you give the newest one? Like on a scale of 1 to 10?
I told Mike earlier I give it right down the middle out of 5 because I need to see it again, because I'm not real sure how I really feel yet. Because like I said, there's so much I like, so much I don't like. I need to watch it again and see how I get that afterwards.
That's fair. That's fair enough. I mean, I had to see Halloween Ends twice. I mean, really, and that's a lot of movies though nowadays. Like especially that have a lot of high hopes with it and they're out in theaters. Like you'll go watch it in theaters, you're like, man, it was good, but maybe I'm missing something. And then you watch it again, you're like, that was a really damn good movie. So, I mean, that's fair enough.
They tried to imitate the same exact thing that Smile did with Evil Dead. I watched this other I forgot what it was. I think it was on YouTube or TikTok or something, but people came out and they were like pretending to be Deadites in the theater as a marketing ploy, and they had it on film, and it was very cringy, let's just say. So I don't know, like it's like the Evil Dead wants to be like the trendy, cool kind of like horror movie of today. But let's just be honest, it's already overshadowed to me by Scream.
Yes.
I don't know how to say it. I mean, Scream
mean,
successful. I think there's a lot
Well,
more.
as we're recording this though, it's already made over 23 million at the box office.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So yeah, and the weekend hasn't even been done. That's only on a Friday, like Thursday, Friday, and Saturday totals. That's nothing with Sundays or anything. So
That's kind of crazy. Well, you have to understand too, it's been a while and they did a really good job with marketing this. So I wouldn't be surprised if it did fantastic numbers. So